So burnt sienna, burnt umber.
So do you want it more on the burnt umber side than the sienna?
You know, it doesn't matter.
How dark do you?
How dark?
Doesn't matter.
It's more on the burnt sienna. But you know what? Whatever we do right now, it doesn't matter because we're going to go over this and put some hints of burnt sienna. Anyway. So eventually, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a couple of brush strokes to show the tiles, but in burnt sienna. So what we need to do probably is keep it on the darker side. Keep it on more of the brown of the, burnt umber brown. So what I'm doing, because I don't want it to be flat. So I'm doing this. My brush stroke is like that. So I'll have some areas that are darker, more brown, some areas more with, that has a bit more burnt sienna. So it's not a flat one color. And it helps with the texture. I'm putting a bit more burnt sienna on this side because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a little bit more of lighter reddish in there. We will go over this and I'll show you how we'll do this. We will put a bit more of texture in there. And that goes over a bit over goes out a bit, over the wall. Okay. So if you get a mixture of different values in here, some dark, some light, that's good. That's good. Don't make it flat. Good. Okay, good. That looks very good. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go a bit darker this time. So more burnt umber. And let's take it here. Because this part of the roof is in a shaded area. So it's darker. We don't have to take it down because this part, the dark part here, is green. And I like it green. I like that green in there. Okay, now I know you're still painting. Do you want me to stop before I work on this?
Can you give me a minute to catch up on the other side?
Sure. So for the little rooftop right here, I'm going to start with same burnt sienna and burnt umber. A little bit more of, there we go. So this is going to be a little bit lighter touch of lighter color. So meaning that less burnt umber in here. Top part. You know why? It's just because we have to see the difference between both. Otherwise, these two will just combine. We won't be able to see the first roof and the second one. This one goes down and it's really pretty dark. So if we darken the one behind it, we're not going to see it. There'll just be one roof. Now, I'm going to start adding a little bit more burnt umber, because now I'm going down, so it's okay. I'm moving away from that connection here. And it's the same idea. I'm going to do this, that, this. So this gives me a bit of texture, so it's not too flat. And I know it has it's a different style in the reference. There's like a part that's coming out here and then it goes in, but I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to ignore that little part there. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. No, I mean the people who live in the cottage.
Oh, I thought you meant the people painting the cottage.
No, the people who live in the cottage. I don't think they're going to complain about changing the roof style.
Hey, don't worry about them, worry about us.
Yes, that's why I'm simplifying.
Oh, are we simple?
No. I'm simplifying it for myself too. Is that okay? That's better, right? That's good. There we go.
Good.
There. Okay, let's darken a bit. Bottom part.
See, this is what I love about your videos. Then I can go back after this and I can make it the way
You want.
Yeah.
You can go back and check everything and see if, yeah, I like the idea of the videos, but I would like them to be a little bit more better quality than what I'm uploading right now. I'm working on that. Okay.
I'd like to know.
Okay, so I have here burnt sienna. Yes, burnt sienna. I'm going to put a bit of yellow ochre. Do you have yellow ochre next to you available?
No.
Or do you want to put some? If you have yellow ochre, just a tiny bit of yellow. Yeah. You know, because yellow ochre is going to make my burnt sienna a little bit lighter without turning it pink. Because if you put titanium buff or white with burnt sienna, it turns pink. So we want to see this burnt sienna, but we don't want it to turn pink. So I'm going to take my brush. This is a number 4, American painter, number 4. And I'm going to come here, top. And you see, like, if you look at the reference, you see like patches of some, like something like that.
And do you have a little bit of what do you call it? Do you have a little bit of yellow ochre in that?
Just a tiny bit. Yeah, a tiny bit. So it shows so that I can see the yellow burnt sienna. You know, sometimes you can't see it because it's, dark, too dark under, the burnt sienna is dark and the rooftop is dark. You can't see it, just a tiny little bit. So I can see it, that's all. So I'm going to be doing stuff like this, but not everywhere. Yeah, don't put too much, yellow ochre. Don't put too much 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 yellow And it's not going to be all like in that color. Some of it, I'll go back. Okay, so let's do this. Let's leave some room in between. You know, don't put it everywhere. And we're going to be putting green eventually as well. So it's not only this. Now, I'm going to clean my brush, take burnt sienna, and put some burnt umber in it, a little bit of burnt umber. I'm going to come here in between. Oh, I can't see it. Okay, let's put some more burnt sienna in here. And it doesn't have to look like
that. You've got a little bit of burnt umber you're putting on there now.
Don't put burnt umber. It didn't work. Just burnt sienna. It didn't work. I had to go over it. Yeah, just a bit of burnt sienna. So what I'm trying to do is kind of break that repeating pattern that I'm putting in there. Break it with a bit of a darker color, like darker, not darker, burnt sienna only, let's say. You know, like I'm just trying to put some hints of that. I don't want to see it strong, just a hint in certain areas, okay? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good. Let's go back and then just put and when I put the green on top, that will change as well. So it's good. So it's you know, you don't want the color to the pattern to look like it's all the same everywhere. Some areas will be lighter, some areas will be darker.
Are you and you're going to go all the way down with just the
Yeah, all the way
sienna,
down.
or just the sienna?
Burnt sienna, and then I'm going back and forth. Burnt sienna, and sometimes I'm putting burnt sienna. Sometimes I'm adding yellow ochre in my burnt sienna, and sometimes no. You know, like a couple of brush strokes with yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and yellow ochre. Couple of brush strokes without. And when it dries, I'm going to go back and adjust, see if it needs adjustment. I like this. This is, yeah, it works. It works. So sometimes I'll go in and put a dot instead of a in between, you know, like a little bit of a small dot, circle, a little bit of a dot. Doesn't have to all look, it doesn't have to look exactly the same everywhere. Yeah, but so if I find that I got in this area, you know, it's like, see this area here, that's flat because I put too much of the burnt sienna. I'm just taking burnt umber, going in between with a small brush, round brush, and just kind of adding that burnt umber in between to give it texture again, because I lost the texture. So much gonna be happening in this cottage between windows and walls and flowers, and you know, nobody, you know, you don't want to put too much detail up here. Just make it look interesting and cute, and it'll be fine. I'll wait for it to dry, and then so what I do is I look at this, and I look at anything there that is interesting. Let's say this part here has a couple of really nice pronounced brush strokes, like, you know, tiles, color. So I'll go in, and then I'll try not to do exactly the same, but have something similar happening in there. Let's take this round brush. I'm going to take yellow ochre, and I'm going to put my yellow ochre in burnt sienna right there. And then I'm going to come here and then try to show a little bit of those like pronounced kind of. And in between, I'll just put a dot. I'm going to be doing, we're going to be adding greens in there too eventually, just after, in a minute. I think this rooftop starts from here in the back. Starts from behind the chimney. Yeah. Now this is dry, so I'm going to take I'm gonna put a couple of burnt sienna in here, a couple of brush strokes of burnt sienna over some of the ones I've done already.
Mm.
In this area down here, the rooftop curves. It curves out, so you don't see, you see a mishmash of, you don't see the actual, a lot of the texture or pattern. So I'm softening this. I don't want to see too much at the bottom. Then I'm going to take a bit of burnt sienna and yellow ochre mixed, and then put a couple of brush strokes in here. Maybe I should wait for it to dry. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to stop. Put some sap green, but a new clean. And yellow ochre. With a round brush. Mix them. Mix some yellow ochre in my sap green to make it more earthy and tone it down. And I'm going to take, just wet my brush a bit so it's not heavy paint. And let's put some green in here. Random. Or if you want, have a look, at the reference a bit and see where you see green in there. But really, honestly, just kind of a random, and it's more like a glaze, so it's not a heavy paint.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference, right? Makes it look much
Don't
more
need
interesting.
much. You don't need much.
No, yeah. Just getting the right value or the right color not too light, not too dark. It's burnt sienna. That's it. That's just a bit. I'm going to wait for it to dry and see if I need to add more. But meanwhile, I'm getting burnt sienna now because this part is dry. So I can put, because the rooftop curves out on this side. So I'm seeing more highlighted area in here. Dots, lines. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, just a bit of yellow ochre in my burnt sienna. And I'm just going to come over here and then put a couple of the same brush stroke, but kind of push it in on an angle so it goes with the movement of the roof. So it's not, instead of going straight down or everywhere, especially here, the sides. Mhm. We're all trying to concentrate on this, right? That's why we're quiet. Okay, so now I have kind of a same movement. And so what I'm going to do is go in between with the corner of my brush, cancel some of them. You know, that long line in between. Go over a bit, camouflage it a bit, so it doesn't look like same line going all the way down. And we're going to put some dots like we did with the other one. Here and there. Random. As I'm using burnt sienna and and yellow ochre. I actually should be doing this with the round brush, but it's okay. Switch my brush. Go to a round one. Yellow ochre. Burnt sienna. Just put a couple of dots. I actually can't see it, so I'm going to add a bit more of the yellow ochre in here, especially here where this roof is. It's just so we can see it. So I used the wider brush to put the general first layer. And now I'm refining a bit and adjusting with a round small brush. So anything that I see where the pattern is not doesn't look right, or it's too pronounced, or it needs to be cut, changed. Like here is a line in there in dark. I'm gonna go in and not much, just a bit. Because what we're trying to do is give a suggestion. So we're not really trying to show a strong detail and make it whimsical.
Do you hear my 4 bells?
No.
No. I have a clock and it rings like 4 bells at 4 o'clock. It goes bing, 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 four bells. My mother gave me this clock because
You're
it needed to
okay?
be fixed.
You're okay saying that I'm recording? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go
So,
ahead.
so I took it to a clockmaker and he said, "You know when this was built?" And I said, "No." He said, 1790.
Wow.
Wow. It's an
That's pretty
antique
cool.
piece, a valuable antique piece.
It's not worth as much as you'd think.
So I added green. Okay. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding green here and there. And just to add some kind of so this will look like the other one. Okay. And there we go. Just a bit of, so we highlighted this area, this one here a little bit more. Than the one on the side. And I'm using more of the yellow ochre on some of those in here, like that, like this. It just makes it much more interesting. I'm going to introduce a little bit of yellow ochre in here, just a couple, again, to make them more, make it a little bit more interesting. So not all of the brick or the rooftop, not all of them look the same, identical. Just a bit of a highlight on some of them. I'll probably refine a bit in between. Let's say between this. Like, see how big this part is? Probably go in and then just kind of with burnt umber, instead of having a big brushstroke that's exactly the same from here to here, I would just kind of make it a little bit darker at the bottom. Give it a bit of with burnt umber. It's a burnt umber mixed with burnt sienna, more like a glaze. So any part where I see is just flat and too big, just even actually with just burnt umber will be fine. And go in between where I have a mush of colors in there with just burnt umber, put a couple of dots. See, look, I have a line that goes all the way here. See, that's brown, dark. And it's a bit too long. First of all, I'm gonna cut it right here with burnt umber. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow ochre, put some yellow ochre right here, not all the way down. Again, maybe another yellow ochre here. And then let's take burnt sienna. Just to cut what I had before there. It was too strong. There we go. It will dry darker. So right now it looks too strong, but it will dry darker. Let's add a bit of more darks in between. I'm just refining what I did before. Make it much more interesting. Okay.